You call your husky's name. It hears you. You know it does. The ears twitch. The eyes shift. Maybe it even looks straight at you for a second, before calmly turning away like your words dissolved into the air. Most owners label that moment instantly. Stubborn, defiant, disrespectful. But what if your husky isn't ignoring you at all? What if that silence is a decision? For generations, Siberian Huskies survived in conditions where blind obedience could get an entire sled team killed. These dogs crossed frozen terrain for miles without human guidance close enough to manage every movement. So breeders didn't reward obedience alone. They rewarded judgment, independent thinking, the ability to assess a situation and choose. That instinct never disappeared. It lives inside your dog now, in your kitchen, your backyard, your living room. And here's what makes Huskies different from many obedience-driven breeds. They don't process commands like buttons being pressed. Dogs read context, emotion, energy, consequence. Your husky may understand exactly what you want and still pause to decide whether it agrees, trusts the timing, or sees a better option. That changes everything, doesn't it? Because there's one specific moment when your husky ignores you that reveals exactly how it sees your relationship. And near the end, we'll reveal the silent test huskies constantly perform on their owners, without humans realizing it. To understand why your husky walks away while staring directly at you, you have to go back thousands of years. Long before your husky learned the sound of your voice, its ancestors learned something harsher. Ice cracking beneath moving sleds, blizzards that erased the horizon, temperatures cold enough to punish hesitation. The Siberian Husky was shaped by the Chukchi people of northeastern Siberia, who depended on these dogs for survival. Not companionship alone. Survival. Families traveled enormous Arctic distances with sled teams carrying food, supplies, sometimes children. And in those conditions, a dog that obeyed every command without thinking could become dangerous. Imagine a musher steering toward unstable ice. A purely obedient dog obeys. A husky stops. That pause, the same one that frustrates owners today, may have once saved human lives. The Chukchi selectively bred dogs that could make decisions under pressure. Dogs that noticed danger before humans did. Dogs capable of refusing commands when instinct signaled something wrong ahead. Over generations, that created a breed with extraordinary endurance, but also something else, autonomous judgment. And that's where many misunderstand Huskies. People often compare them to breeds like Border Collies or German Shepherds. But those dogs were developed for a different psychological partnership with humans. A Border Collie constantly checks for direction. A German Shepherd thrives on structured task fulfillment. Their reward system centers on cooperation and precision. A Husky's mind works differently. It cooperates when cooperation makes sense. That doesn't mean the bond is weaker. In some ways, it's more complex. Your Husky isn't asking, "How do I obey?" It's often asking, "Why should I?" Primitive breeds like Huskies retain higher levels of cognitive flexibility than many modern obedience-focused dogs. Researchers and behaviorists have long observed that these breeds solve problems with less dependence on human instruction. They evaluate environments independently. They adapt fast, sometimes too fast for owners expecting automatic compliance, which explains the strange emotional contradiction Husky owners know so well. Your dog can love you deeply, sleep beside you, follow you from room to room, then ignore a command as if your opinion suddenly became optional. Because in the Husky mind, attachment and obedience are not the same thing. And once you understand that, the behavior stops feeling personal. The stare across the room changes meaning. The pause before responding changes meaning. Even the moments that feel challenging begin to reveal intelligence hiding underneath. But independence alone doesn't explain why your Husky looks directly at you and still refuses. When your Husky ignores a command, the decision usually isn't impulsive. It's calculated faster than you can see. While many owners imagine disobedience as a simple refusal, canine cognition tells a more layered story. In the seconds after you speak, your Husky is processing multiple variables at once. What's the reward? What else is happening nearby? Does this command matter right now? What emotional state are you in? And yes, your dog notices that last part immediately. Dogs are extraordinary readers of human emotion. They study tone shifts, facial tension, posture, breathing patterns. Your Husky can often sense frustration before you say a word. It can hear uncertainty hidden underneath confidence. Sometimes the command itself matters less than the emotional energy wrapped around it. That's why the same dog who ignores "come here" at the park may respond instantly at home. The environment changed. The stimulation changed. The emotional context changed. And huskies are especially sensitive to stimulation. Behaviorists often describe the breed as high in novelty-seeking behavior. Movement, scents, sounds, open space. Their brains are naturally drawn toward exploration. In survival terms, that trait once helped Arctic dogs adapt quickly to changing terrain and unpredictable danger. Today, it means a squirrel across the yard can temporarily outrank your authority. Not because your husky doesn't love you, because its brain is still prioritizing information the way survival dogs once did. That's the uncomfortable part for many owners. Your husky isn't a machine failing to execute commands. It's an intelligent animal constantly weighing priorities in real time. Sometimes your request wins. Sometimes the environment wins. Sometimes curiosity wins. And sometimes your dog is studying you. If you live with a husky, you already know the look. That long pause after you give a command. The eye contact. The moment where it feels like your dog is deciding whether you're serious. Because it is. And honestly, every husky owner has one command their dog suddenly becomes deaf to. Maybe it's come. Maybe it's leave it. Maybe it's inside. Drop it in the comments. Husky owners around the world are probably fighting the exact same battle. And if you enjoy exploring the psychology behind behaviors people usually dismiss as bad dogs, subscribe. Once you understand what drives these animals emotionally, everything about the relationship starts to shift. But the most misunderstood part isn't the ignoring itself. It's what your husky is silently measuring when it does it. Because in many cases, your husky isn't rejecting the command. It's evaluating you. Most people think their husky is testing commands. In truth, the husky is often testing something far more important. You. Not dominance in the dramatic way the internet describes it. Not some constant battle for control. The test is quieter than that. Emotional. Relational. Your husky watches for consistency the same way its ancestors watched unstable ice. Can I trust your reactions? Do your emotions feel predictable? Do your words match your energy? Dogs thrive on patterns, but huskies seem unusually sensitive to emotional contradiction. Studies on emotional contagion in dogs show that they absorb human stress signals constantly. Tone changes, tension, abrupt movement, nervous energy. Your emotional state travels through the room before your command does. And huskies notice. Picture two owners calling the same dog. The first owner shouts across the yard with rising frustration. The command repeats louder each time. The body stiffens. The energy becomes chaotic. To the human, it feels like urgency. To the husky, it can feel emotionally unstable, unpredictable noise without clear direction. Now picture the second owner. Calm posture, controlled voice. No panic chasing the command. The energy stays grounded, even if the dog hesitates. Huskies respond differently to that person because confidence creates clarity. This is where many relationships quietly fracture. Owners believe harsher emotion will force compliance. But inconsistent reinforcement and emotional volatility often weaken command reliability instead. One day the rule matters deeply. The next day it disappears. Sometimes the command comes with affection. Other times frustration. The husky learns uncertainty instead of structure. And once uncertainty enters the relationship, selective listening grows stronger. Not out of spite, out of adaptation. Because from the husky's perspective, emotional inconsistency makes leadership harder to read. That realization can sting a little. You start remembering moments where your dog ignored you after stressful days. Times when your frustration escalated the standoff instead of ending it. Moments where your husky seemed calmer than you were. But there's hope hidden inside that discomfort too. Because if your energy influences the relationship that deeply, then small changes matter more than you think. Calmness matters. Follow-through matters. Emotional honesty matters. Your husky doesn't need perfection from you. It needs clarity it can trust. And this leads to the heartbreaking misunderstanding that damages thousands of husky owner relationships. Because what humans call disobedience, huskies often experience very differently. The worst part is that many husky owners accidentally teach their dogs to disconnect from them. Not through cruelty, through frustration. It usually starts small. A repeated command. A dog that hesitates. An owner whose voice sharpens with each failed response. Maybe the leash jerks tighter. Maybe anger slips into the room before anyone notices. And slowly, the husky stops engaging. Because stress changes the canine brain. When dogs feel emotional tension or fear, learning and responsiveness begin to shut down. The nervous system shifts away from curiosity and cooperation towards self-protection and avoidance. In obedience-focused breeds, some dogs will continue complying under pressure anyway. Huskies often do the opposite. They withdraw emotionally first. That distinction matters. Many owners interpret this withdrawal as stubborn defiance. But behaviorists often separate the two clearly. Defiance pushes against interaction, while avoidance escapes it. Your husky walking away, refusing eye contact, suddenly forgetting commands, or becoming harder to reach emotionally may not be rebellion at all. It may be self-preservation. Primitive breeds tend to respond poorly to force-based training because their psychology depends heavily on trust and voluntary cooperation. The harder humans push emotionally, the more these dogs detach internally. And once that pattern forms, owners can end up trapped in a painful cycle. Command, frustration, tension, disengagement. Then the silence grows between both sides. You can see it in the dog's body language sometimes. The slower movements, the distant expression, the way excitement disappears from interactions that once felt playful. Owners often think stricter discipline will repair the problem, but pressure applied to a disconnected husky usually deepens the distance. Which is why relationship-based training changes everything. Positive reinforcement doesn't work because huskies are soft. It works because trust keeps the dog emotionally present. Clear rewards, predictable communication, calm repetition. These methods maintain engagement instead of damaging it. Over time, responsiveness grows not from fear of consequences, but from confidence inside the relationship itself. And that realization can bring a strange mix of emotions. Regret for moments you misunderstood your dog. Relief that the bond isn't broken. Compassion for an animal trying to communicate in ways humans often miss. Your husky was never trying to become a bad dog. It was responding to the emotional environment surrounding the command. But there's one final truth most husky owners never realize, and once you see it, their behavior changes forever. By now, the picture probably looks different than it did at the beginning. Your husky was never trying to be difficult. It was trying to be itself. That independence you struggle with sometimes, the hesitation, the evaluating stare, the moments where your dog chooses its own path. Those traits were shaped long before your husky ever knew your name. They helped humans survive brutal environments. They created a breed built not on blind obedience, but on judgment, resilience, and trust. And that's the final truth behind the silent test huskies give their owners. Every interaction answers 3 questions in your dog's mind. Does following you feel safe? Does it feel meaningful? Does it feel trustworthy? Not perfect. Trustworthy. Because huskies bond differently than many companion breeds. Their loyalty doesn't always look like instant compliance. Often, it looks quieter than that. Staying near you. Watching you constantly. Choosing connection voluntarily instead of mechanically. And over time, trust-based communication creates something stronger than obedience alone. Partnership. So the next time your husky looks directly at you before walking away, pause before calling it stubbornness. Pause before assuming disrespect. Maybe your husky heard you all along. Maybe that moment was never about whether your dog understood the command. Maybe it was about whether the relationship underneath it felt worth following.